In life, many turning points come to all and sundry in our journey through life. 1. Things could turn from bad to good. Then and now, lepers are not highly rated in any society. But when the turning point came for 4 lepers in Samaria, they became stupendously rich overnight. 2 Kings 7, verse 3 to 9. Now 4 men who were lepers were at the entrance of the city's gate, and they said to one another, "Why do we sit here until we die? If we say we will enter the city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit still here, we die also. So now come, let us go over to the army of the Syrians. If they spare us alive, we shall live. And if they kill us, we shall but die." So they arose in the twilight and went to the Syrian camp. But when they came to the edge of the camp, no man was there. For the Lord had made the Syrian army hear a noise of chariots and horses, the noise of a great army. They had said to one another, "The king of Israel has hired the Hittites and Egyptian kings to come upon us." So the Syrians arose and fled in the twilight and left their tents, horses, donkeys, even the camp as it was, and fled for their lives. And when these lepers came to the edge of the camp, they went into one tent and ate and drank and carried away silver, gold, and clothing, and went and hid them in the darkness. Then they entered another tent and carried from there also, and went and hid it. Then they said one to another, "We are not doing right. This is a day of glad good news, and we are silent and do not speak up. If we wait until daylight, some punishment will come upon us for not reporting at once. So now come, let us go and tell the king's household." It always looks like a dream when God turns things around for a person. Psalms 126, verse 1. When the Lord brought back the captives who returned to Zion, we were like those who dream. It seemed so unreal. 2. Things could turn from good to bad. God blessed Samson, and the Spirit of the Lord began to move him. Judges 13, verses 24 and 25. He was so strengthened by the Holy Spirit that he tore a lion with his bare hands. But when he allowed himself to be trapped by Delilah, the Spirit of God departed from him, and he was captured by his enemies like a chicken, and his 2 eyes were plucked out. Judges 16, verses 20 and 21. She said, "The Philistines are upon you, Samson." And he awoke out of his sleep and said, "I will go out as I have time after time and shake myself free." For Samson did not know that the Lord had departed from him. But the Philistines laid hold of him, bored out his eyes, and brought him down to Gaza, and bound him with 2 bronze fetters, and he groaned at the mill in the prison. 3. Things could turn from good to better. David, the man after God's heart, was anointed king 3 times in Israel. He was first anointed king in his father's house. 1 Samuel 16, verse 13. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed David in the midst of his brothers. And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon David from that day forward. And Samuel arose and went to Ramah. Second, he was anointed king over Judah. 2 Samuel 2 verse 4. And the men of Judah came, and there they anointed David king over the house of Judah. They told David, the men of Jabesh Gilead buried Saul. Third, he was anointed king over the whole of Israel. 2 Samuel 5 verse 3. So all the elders of Israel came to the king at Hebron, and King David made a covenant with them there for the Lord, and they anointed him king over Israel. In other words, David kept moving from glory to glory. 4. From good to bad, and then to good again. Nebuchadnezzar was a powerful and rich king in Babylon. But when pride entered into him, he took God's glory to himself, and he was dethroned and turned to an animal. However, in his sorrowful state, he repented, and God again restored his throne to him. Daniel 4, from verse 28 to 37. All this was fulfilled and came upon King Nebuchadnezzar. At the end of 12 months, he was walking in the royal palace of Babylon. The king said, "Is not this the great Babylon that I have built as a royal residence and seat of government by the might of my power and for the honor and glory of my majesty?" While the words were still in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven, saying, "O King Nebuchadnezzar, to you it is spoken. The kingdom has departed from you, and you shall be driven from among men, and your dwelling will be with the living creatures of the field. You will be made to eat grass like the oxen, and 7 times or years shall pass over you, until you have learned and know that the Most High God rules in the kingdom of men and gives it to whomsoever he will." That very hour, the thing was in process of being fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar. He was driven from among men and did eat grass like oxen, as Daniel had said he would. And his body was wet with the dew of the heavens, until his hair grew like eagle's feathers, and his nails were like birds' claws. And at the end of the days, 7 years, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted up my eyes to heaven, and my understanding and the right use of my mind returned to me. And I blessed the Most High God, and I praised and honored and glorified him who lives forever, whose dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom endures from generation to generation. And all the inhabitants of the earth are counted as nothing. And he does according to his will in the host of heaven and among the inhabitants of the earth. And none can stay his hand or say to him, "What are you doing?" Now, at the same time, my reason and understanding returns to me. And for the glory of my kingdom, my majesty and splendor returns to me. And my counselors, my lords, sought me out. I was re-established in my kingdom, and still more greatness than before was added to me. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and honor the King of heaven, whose works are all faithful and right, and whose ways are just. and those who walk in pride he is able to abase and humble. Don't cancel people. You never can tell what a person may become tomorrow. The world and things could turn around, and a former master could end up cleaning for his cleaner. If it is already good for you, then praise God and pray without ceasing, so that things will even become better. May we be sensitive to know the time of our visitation, so as to take our good turns in life. Ezekiel 21 verse 27. I will overthrow it. This also shall be no more until he comes, whose right it is to reign in judgment and in righteousness, and I will give it to him. Please share this video to encourage others. Thank you.